Welcome back to the Human Nexus podcast. My name is Andrew Brazis. I'm a business and marketing consultant and private chef.
Welcome back. My name is Miss Laura Machiste. I am an online tarot reader, holistic massage therapist, and energy coach. And today we have Alex from Blue Mountains Tarot with us here. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself and say what you do?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I'm a holistic nutritionist is my training, my background, and I now basically work full time as an online tarot reader and tarot reader in person. So it's pretty much become my full time career. I do have a little bit of the holistic nutrition that I still maintain a few clients and work with that, but mostly it's all tarot.
Very cool. Is that what got you into doing more tarot with the connection to the nutrition and the body? I actually do massage therapy, so that actually goes really hand in hand with focusing on the body, the energy, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it was a part of, I remember a client of mine telling me, like, you're now doing healing on a different scale. Instead of doing it through the holistic nutrition and supplements and all of that, you're doing it on a bit more of an intuitive level. I do think my intuition was really helpful, which you may feel as well when you're working with people. My intuition would really tell me a lot. Just sitting with a person, sitting with a client, and sort of feeling what would benefit them. So, but my tarot came from more of a situation that was dreams that I was receiving from a friend of mine who passed away 25 years ago. And she was coming through my dreams for 20 years. At the first, in the beginning, I was much younger. I didn't really know what to think of it or what to do with it or what to make of it until 4 years ago, which is when I started my tarot journey. Was always playing around with the tarot, learning it. I had my own tarot reader. I was into the whole psychic and intuitive community. And when I finally had this moment where my friend who passed away coming through the dreams was coming in very strong and very regularly, where I couldn't hold on to this anymore. I had to bring it up, and I ended up finding her family, finding her two sisters, and shared with them all the messages that I was getting. And from that point on, my healing took a whole other level, and then the tarot readings just unfolded from there.
Right.
So
That's very interesting.
it was sort of a lead up from a bunch of things: my own healing journey, the journey with my friend giving me dream messages, and then like the tarot just being the outcome for me.
Right. Almost like that, kind of like no choice you have
Yeah,
in the dreams.
I was not expecting or thinking about. It's when I was going through my healing journey, I was feeling very hopeless, and many areas of my health were in such bad shape that I didn't know what I was going to be able to do. I didn't know if I was going to be able to work. And I remember a point just saying, it's where I really surrendered and said, figure it out for me, because I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know how I'm going to work. I don't know what I'm going to do. And like, I did not expect my life to be doing tarot. I was actually a sales rep for a big supplement brand. So I was a rep on the road for vitamins and supplements, and then as well as the nutrition, but it was not what I expected.
How did you get started, like doing, like transitioning from tarot or from sales to tarot? Like, what was that like?
Well, I originally was for many years not really doing what I wanted to do, and that was working in corporate finance in a big tower downtown Toronto. But my healing, like my whole interest and my passion was very health oriented. I grew up on an organic farm. I was very into the natural. My spiritual journey started very young, and I got into leaving corporate finance, going into sales. I started doing demos. I was just starting off demoing for a company. When you go to a grocery store or you see somebody sampling out protein shakes, that was me. And then moving into a sales role. the tarot started around 2020, I guess, 2021. And I was just playing around with it. And then I offered free readings online. I remember putting an ad out on like like Kijiji, I think it was, and just offered free tarot readings. I needed complete strangers. And then some of those people were calling me back months later. So when I was going through health issues, I couldn't work. I was actually off from my sales job. I wasn't able to work. And then I tried to do my holistic nutrition and work with clients, try to become a little bit more self-employed. And then it just slowly but surely, the readings, especially when I told my friend's family about their sister who passed over, my whole world changed the day I told them. It was actually December 17th. It was 3 days ago, uh, 2021, I believe. My whole body healed. I went into full-on remission. I had ulcerative colitis. My mom, at the exact same day, who was dealing with stage 4 cancer, we healed that up. It was like in remission. Like it was almost like when I told her family, my whole life got blessed. Like I completely changed my life. And then the tarot it just happened. I walked into a spiritual store in my town and I was like, hey, could I read you? Like I'm doing this and I'm trying to find a place to kind of start. And the lady hired me on right away, the day that we read.
That
That's
is
amazing.
eerily similar to what I went through. Same time as well. Same type of thing. Maybe like a different type of issue, but
Uh,
that is really in the back of my head. I'm like, what is going on
yeah.
right
It's
now
so like,
with
I just feel like my friend blessed me. I feel like she really was trying to get this message and this message through, but I was so young. I was like, oh, there's another dream, like weird, and you just move on with your day. But then it came
yeah.
on, so I was getting emotional. I had to start journaling. But the day, like this specifically, I remember December 17th is when like my mom was calling me like repeatedly, and I kept hitting the off button on my phone because I was trying to tell the story to these sisters.
hmm
And she's like, I'm in remission. I'm in remission. And then I went into remission.
Wow.
Like I healed. There's a lot to that as well. But yeah, after the store, I then just kept reading clients from the store. Then I moved to another location. It was just word spreads. It's word of mouth. I
Hmm.
have no social
Yeah,
media except for my YouTube channel. I just, it spreads.
That's
that's
amazing. And
amazing.
it really sounds like you were chosen. I feel like the cards choose people.
Yeah, and even my friend's message said, you were the only open conduit for me to really come through, and that's
hmm
why I chose you, because we were wondering why she came through my dreams and not everybody else that she could have hung out. I wasn't even really close to her after elementary school.
Wow.
She literally came in and said, the reason I came through you, Alex, is because you were the only open conduit. So,
Yep. They will find who is most sensitive to receiving their message. I feel like no matter at what walk of life, they will make sure that they find the person. And the fact that she kept going and going and going and going, like creating a messenger aspect for you,
mhm.
followed the path, and now you're here, which is absolutely amazing. I do have a question about the healing that you and your mom both had. Was
Mhm.
there anything specific that you did holistically? Is there any type of like food or maybe ritual or mental work, energetic work that you feel like really helped the healing? Because stage 4 cancer is a big one to heal.
Yeah, so I'll start with my mom because she was diagnosed in September of like before December 17th. So she was just diagnosed in September. It kind of came out of nowhere. She had liver and colon cancer, stage 4. They were like, listen, you got 6 months. Like, you better just get your affairs together. We've got a chemo plan, a radiation plan. And my mom, my whole growing up was not of that approach. It was very much organic, holistic, naturopathic. So in 2017, I went to a place in Florida actually for my own healing, which was the Hippocrates Health Institute. And Hippocrates is based on the foundation of wheatgrass,
Hmm.
and basically a raw food, sprout, live food diet to basically detoxify, cleanse the body, heal the body. And then they had a whole bunch of natural healing modalities that I didn't even know of. I learned about this. So the founder of that, of HHI, Hippocrates Health Institute, healed herself of cancer. I believe it was colon cancer. So I had the training. I did the certificate there, which anybody can go to if you're a practitioner. If you're interested, you can go as a 4-day. It's called Doctor Days. I learned about the protocol and the program that they offered for all kinds of healing, not just cancer. I did it for my own because I had ulcerative colitis.
Hmm.
And I basically took that protocol, and also studying holistic nutrition and being involved in the naturopathic world, I knew that we could heal this naturally. And so what we did was no chemo, no radiation. One of the first things I did was cancel the cable TV on my parents' house, to get rid of the news, the media, the negativity of that, the programming. That is basically the first thing I did. I'm like, we're going to go into full healing mode. We did wheatgrass shots. So we did like 4 ounces a day. And then
Hmm.
we did naturopathic, which was vitamin C IV, once a week. So it's like 50 grams high dose vitamin C, as well as these other, like, it's called German mistletoe. So it's like a herbal that they inject into the stomach. And in 3 months, she was given 6 months to live. I did aromatherapy, I did sound therapy, I did like meditation music, everything that would bring her into a peaceful place and remove all stressors. We also did like 7 weeks of basically raw food, a little bit of eggs from their farm, but pretty much green juicing, raw foods, you know, smoothies, all of that. And on December 17th, she was at the doctor's getting her blood, like her test, and it was remission. They're like, it's we don't even know how you did, like, what the heck. It's
Wow.
gone. And this is now 3 years. She's healthy, has not looked back.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's incredible.
So, it's possible. Obviously we did a lot of prayer and meditation. I think my mom had a lot of realizations about life and people in her life that, and I had the same thing. Like, I realized who I needed, what I needed, and what needed to go, what I needed to really clear from, that was really making me, or contributing to my dis-ease, right? The dysfunction, or the stressful energy that creates sickness.
Right. Wow. This is mind-blowing to me because I went through a similar situation and exactly what you just said right there. The holistic chiropractor I went to, he had a poster up and it said dis-ease
Uh,
and split up the word exactly how you just did it. So now I totally understand why we're aligned to have him on here because everything you're saying is sometimes you don't know until you know, right? So a lot of the times when I tell people for energy work, I tell them first thing, go through a social media cleanse, every news thing you follow, everything you watch that doesn't uplift you, no more.
yeah,
So it's so crazy that that was also the first step that you gave as well. And then like the internal and the sound and wow.
yeah. I did like anything that was anti-cancer. So, like, a lot of people may not believe in that, but things like frankincense essential oil, and myrrh, and I would rub that into her feet. I would rub it around the incision line because she had an operation to remove tumors out of her colon area, and they had a little piece of colon taken out. All of that. So they had some operating to remove, but they were really pressing on the more chemo approach, and radiation. So I just did every possible thing that I knew to heal and to remove cancer and disease out of the body. We did, and my mom really followed through with, because she believes in it.
Hmm.
And like, she had some emotional purging, realizing like, wow, I was hanging on to things in life or people that were taking advantage of, or whatever it was that was emotionally holding on to that uh,
Right.
was really a big part as well. Even with myself, it's the same. Like I really realized what I was living and what I was hanging on to and how that made me sick in the first place, I think.
Yeah, that's incredible. How did that change your relationship? I mean, obviously it changed your relationship with yourself and the outside world, but how did it change your relationship with your spiritual practices? Like, did it strengthen them? Did it change how you did things day to day?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what Laura's saying. Like, we kind of know. It's like we believe in this. I believed in this. I studied this. I saw it in other people's stories, but it's, you don't really fully believe or embrace it until it actually takes place. So all it did for me was just it took away the fear of illness. It took away the fear because dealing with ulcerative colitis, the biggest fears that kept being pushed at me from doctors was like, you're going to get cancer, you're going to get colon cancer. Like, if you don't treat this, it's going to lead to cancer. And I was like, that's the least of my worry because I now know how to treat it. I know how to take care of that. You know,
Hmm.
like it empowered me to be like, I have proof and I've seen it in others, but I have it in my own family now and in myself because I was told, like, you're not going to cure Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And, so cancers and things, illness doesn't really fear me as much um, because it is what it is. First of all, we're all going to, we do go through suffering and illness. You can't, it's a part of the process. It's part of why, like, I see it as it was a part of what I had to go through to learn and to come into my higher spiritual path because it's like surrender and faith and just trust and then having like angelic experiences and like meditation and then you start to see all these synchronicities in your life take place and you're like, yeah, healing is definitely it's in our nature, but I think we've been so removed from the power that we have to heal. And that's where I know. So how it changed me was like, I'm not afraid. I'm not worried. I've helped other people who were very skeptical and, they were like, I'm never going to get well. I'm never going to overcome this. And I'm like, just sit with us, just sit with it. And let's work on it. Cause you will.
Yeah,
Right.
so
So
And I
it
feel
so
really,
like that's why it's important.
yeah, it helps me in my practice because now I'm not only just textbooking it. I'm actually like, I have like legitimate hands-on experience
Mhm.
with myself, my mom, a bunch of clients, other, all over.
Yeah. So it really helped. It just really empowered you then. I mean,
Absolutely.
outside, yeah, more than anything else.
My belief that I was on the right path, that my holistic nutrition, I mean, if I had the time and the energy, I would have went for a naturopathic doctor. That's a big undertaking. And I didn't have the ability at the time, but
Yeah.
that's what I believe in.
Do
And
you have,
like, it led me to like divine intervention, like spontaneous healing, miraculous healing. I experienced all of that as well. Like, you can heal tomorrow morning. Just like you can wake up, get sick tomorrow morning, you can wake up and be healed tomorrow morning. It's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
It's the exact same thing. Like, I woke up one day, I was sick as it gets, and I woke up and I was as well as healthy as it gets. It just happens.
yeah, that's amazing. It's so, yeah, that's so incredible. I'm so glad to have you on because and people need to know that this is,
It's possible.
Yeah.
yeah, it's possible.
It's
Do
very
you,
possible.
do you have any experiences that were, I don't know, like transcendental in any way that you can share, like during that process?
With my healing journey, like
Hmm. Yeah.
with like angelic realm and things like that, like other
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. A couple of times. So my healing really started, or my illness, I guess, was it started off with a sore back, and it was herniated disc. So that's all inflammation. Everything is inflammation. All illnesses are a stem of inflammation in the body. I had herniated discs, so I had like three really bad herniated discs, which all led to the ulcerative colitis, Crohn's. The whole body was inflamed, but the physical pain was in the back. Um, I was at a point, it was 2013, around, it was February, March, April. those 3 months, I was literally like living at my parents' on the floor. I couldn't walk. I was basically due for surgery of the back, which I was never going to. I was just not going down that road, but I had it all future planned, just worst case, right? So I wasn't able to walk very well. I was crawling around. I was on a lot of Tylenol. I was on a lot of like painkillers to just figure out what I'm going to do. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was under the care of my parents, and I was talking to a really good friend of mine at the time, my best friend. And I said, like, I don't know what I'm going to do, man. Like I'm lying on the floor. I'm going to lose everything. Basically. I can't work. I don't know what I'm going to do. So he's like, he was also into the spiritual world, and we connected on that level. And he said, Alex, you're just going to have to like pray to the archangels. And he sent me this text. He's like, pray to Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, like ask for divine healing, like miraculous healing. This is what you're going to have to do. Because I was desperate. That's what this illness gets you to, really get on your knees and kind of pray and really trust that something bigger than myself is going to fix this. And so the next day, my mom was like, I'm going to bring over my Reiki friend. Her name's Marguerite. We're really good friends today, to this day. And she's like, are you, and I've done Reiki. I did a lot of Reiki in the past. And so Marguerite walks in. She'd never seen me before, never met me. She does all this Reiki energy on me and has like a breakdown, starts crying. She's like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but Archangel Raphael is in the room. Like, you've been healed by the Father, by the higher power, by archangels. And I'm like, no, there's no mistake. Like, I showed her the text from the night before saying, like, here's my friend's text. Like, I've been praying all night about this.
Wow.
So this kind of coincides. Basically, at the same time, my sister, who is also very spiritual and believes in her higher faith, she's like, would you like to go to a healing room where they're going to pray with you and try to heal you? So I went to this healing room, and I had 4 people, I think, around me, just like praying and, trying to get me to receive love in my life, receive healing, and, know that you can heal all of this pain. I was walking with 2 canes, tons of Tylenol, like screaming in the car. The car receipt was reclined back. Like, I was in brutal pain. I couldn't even stand. You're supposed to stand and they pray around you. I was like leaning on 2 chairs. Like, it was just bad shape. So I leave after about a half an hour, and I get into the car, and my body turned, it felt like minus 30 degrees. It was ice cold. And I felt as if, like, imagine like cracks of ice across a lake down the side of my back, down my leg. And I was like, I just felt this sense of like pop and release and crack. And I told my sister, I'm like, I really just need to get home and I need to go to bed. I'm extremely exhausted and I'm freezing cold. And the next day I slept. I told my mom, like, don't wake me up. There's a heavy amount of tiredness. I slept for like, it was around 5:30 at night, and I slept until like the next day at like 8 a.m. and I got up and walked.
Wow.
And I walked up the stairs to like the main house, and I was like, I'm good to go home. I still
Wow.
get some massage therapy. I had an amazing chiropractor who did a lot of laser, and I did a lot of acupuncture, Chinese medicine. Like, I had a lot of work to do, but the healing was like, you're good, you're free. You can go home. You're like, between this Reiki session, the archangel like experience, and this healing, it was like I got up and left. And I walked into my mom's office, where in town, like my sister's was a family business, and they were just like, their jaw dropped, because they're like, oh my God, like, we just took you, you were a mess yesterday. And then my back healed.
This is crazy because I also had herniated discs in my back and I was supposed to get back surgery. And So to interconnect that, which is absolutely crazy that the archangels came through and all of that stuff, I had a very, very similar experience. Although I could stand and walk around, I just couldn't sit or lay down.
Yeah.
And to connect your story, I actually found the chiropractor that helped me heal through a medium.
Oh, wow.
So when did this happen to you?
20, so that back scenario was 2013 when that healing took place in like the spring.
Okay.
It was March. I
Your
remember.
story is like freaky similar to my story. It's almost like, Andrew, you've heard my story 1,000 times. Is this
Mm.
not creeping you out right now?
I'm really curious to see what your guys' astrology is and like compare
Oh
that,
my
like
gosh, I'm
what
like
was in
mind blown.
where. Yeah.
Did you
Because
have
I
like
think
sciatica pain as well?
Oh, that's how this all started. So when I was repping on the road,
Right. Oh
I
my gosh.
drive my car. I would sit on a water bottle on my right leg, and I was screaming. I was just like, I can't. I couldn't. Like, I would work out and I would push my body. And but yeah, oh my God, sciatica beyond. It started off as a sore back, and then it was like, oh yeah, I went to the chiropractor, physio. He's like, you have sciatica. Like, you can't you can't raise your leg or whatever. I couldn't do. He's like, you have. And then there was an MRI, and they're like, oh yeah, you have three like L4, L5, S1. Like my whole.
S1. Oh my.
So you can't. Yeah, you're like you're walking like distorted and like chronic. Like it was awful, awful, awful pain.
Mm-hmm.
Cascades into this like contracted muscular. You're just a mess. I was in chronic pain for 10 years. Chronic acupuncture, massage therapy. Like I've done every single modality that I'm aware of. Everything.
That's crazy. That is absolutely, and I feel like that's what sets apart like the people who know how to alchemize energy and the people who don't, because you
Yeah.
could have let that take you down.
Oh yeah, like
And I
doctor.
know there were some low moments. Trust me. I know.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
really tough moments. I was encouraged, but that's the thing is that Um, everyone has to do what they need to do and get the support that they need. I'm a bit of a lone wolf in that way. I have like very close friends and family and whatnot, but I was never interested in like, they were like, oh, there's support groups for colitis because I was like, this is to me, it just felt like I'm just giving energy to the being ill and being a victim of an illness. And I'm like, no, no, I'm going to just really go within and truly take a look and like surrender. Like one of the greatest spiritual lessons I learned through illness is the practice of surrender and just saying like, hey, I will lie on this floor for until I die if that's the case because I'm gonna see what else is out there that's gonna take over here because I don't know I can't I'm done and it did
Wow.
through surrendering.
Do you mind me asking what is your zodiac sign? Like what's your big three?
Yeah, so I'm Aquarius sun, Pisces rising, and Aries moon. Pisces Venus.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty true Aquarian.
Well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's why my channel has a lot of Aquarius on it.
Wow.
Aquarians. So yeah,
yeah,
you're
that's
though, are
I'm
you?
like mind blown. I don't have many, like, I'm just like freaking out over here. I actually am a Pisces sun, Aries rising, Leo moon, but I
Okay.
do have Aquarius, Venus, and Mercury.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I think I don't know about you, but I have a lot of Pisces. I just connect with Pisces really well. And
Right.
rising, but I don't know, a lot of my friends and especially like lifelong friends are Pisces. I just connect with Pisces. They're easy,
Wow.
when I watched your Human Nexus before going on, I was just like, oh, I'm totally comfortable with these guys. Like it's so easy. It's very
Exactly.
yeah, no problems.
When is your birthday?
Jan 26th.
well, that's
January.
real soon. I think it's really amazing. I'm glad that you've been on to share that because I think people really need to know about, the power within and how we can heal ourselves and others around us.
Yeah.
Um, what about your tarot channel? Like, tell me a little bit about that. Like, what drives you there?
Yeah. So again, it's another synchronicities. You know, it's not a coincidence. It was all meant to happen the way it did. Um, it's a little challenging. I don't know, Miss Machiste, if you notice, like, for me, you know, personal readings in person are my favorite. That's like a sit down kneel versus the YouTube is really challenging for me. It's for me, there's a challenge in trying to read on cue with a camera in front of me, and I'm like, you know, trying to pick up all this energy where I can't validate per se certain things that I'm picking up where I can on a one-on-one. So in 2020, I was playing around with tarot. I was like, you know, I had a reader. Um, I was really into this, and I was like, I gotta learn this. I don't know why, but I gotta learn this. I gotta grab a deck and check this out. So I was, you know, playing around with it, studying it. I found out like a neighbor of mine, I didn't even know there was YouTube readers. I had no idea about tarot readers online. And a neighbor of mine, she's like, I really like this reader. Just watch it. His Aquarius is so good. And then I just went down the rabbit hole of the tarot readers online. There's a million of them. And I was like going through my process and like figuring out what and how what my life is going. And I'm like, you know, I was like, it just hit me one day. I was like, I could see myself doing this. I don't know how, but I'm like, I could do this, I think. So I'm gonna give a shout out to another channel because that's how I got on. So Tarot Time with Dana. Are you familiar with her, Laura?
I think I've seen her on my page.
Tarot Time with
I've had a experience with watching and then not watching online,
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's kind of float around. So she was one of the ones I discovered. She was one of the tarot readers that like I jumped on and followed and was watching, and one of the first. And she did a contest. So it was called Read the Reader. And which is a great concept. I'm thinking of doing that myself. So she put this contest out there to read the reader, and I had no social media. I'm not really a social media guy. And I was one of the top three winners. I got chosen. So I read her, I did a video, I sent it to her, and she emailed me back and she's like, hey, listen, you won.
wow.
And she's like, I need your socials. And I didn't have anything. So I had a name, Blue Mountains Tarot, because I live in Blue Mountains, Ontario, Canada.
Hmm.
And I was just like, I started the channel because she's like, I have to get this info within like a week or whatever. And I'm like, I guess I'm doing this. And she like threw me into the fire, and I got a whole bunch of her followers right away. But I wasn't prepared. I really, truth be told, I did not feel very confident. I was not prepared. I knew it was like a dream or a one day I'll do that, but I was just not thinking it was going to be in like a month. And it was a fluke. I was at my friend's for a weekend out of town hanging out, and I saw her post this, and I was like literally at my friend's house. I'm like, I'm gonna just do this reading for her and read. And she's the one that got me onto YouTube. I really owe a lot of gratitude and thankfulness to Dana because she she started that fire for me. And then working at a store, I just started handing out my YouTube channel, which is another challenge that I have because I'd like the world to know, but not my town. I don't want anyone to know
Same.
where I live,
Right.
but the whole world can know, just don't know in my town. But it's leaking. I can't help it.
Wow.
Growing. Um, Slowly but surely, I'm getting there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then I just got a lot of personal readings. So I do a lot of Zoom calls. Do you do personals?
I used to do personals. I do them sparingly now. But I do them personally, like in person at my suite, but not
Not.
online as a public thing to buy.
It's YouTube has really paid off for me in terms of like allowing me to have clients from all over the world, which is another blessing. Like I have all the things that I want now, everything that I had imagined about freedom, doing what I love, being my own boss. I can go and hang out wherever I want and do my YouTube and do my readings. And like again, I was blessed. I truly feel very fortunate how my life turned out. If there's one thing I can say to everyone that is going through illness and not sure what your path is, like, just go through it. Like, I suffered deeply and heavily and got very hopeless at times, but just don't give up because something is waiting for you. Something is planned for you. You just need to, it takes you down these paths that you don't expect for a reason. It's like it takes you off-roading and it takes you down a very rough road, but then
Hmm.
up. And so, yeah, that's how my channel started.
And I feel like the way humans work, a lot of the times you can say things to somebody, but the brain is like, well, you don't know what it feels
Yeah.
like. But when you go through these moments and you make it out on the other side, and it's like, no, I do know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I'm a product and evidence and quantumly that will get the brain to realize it's also a possibility. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's super helpful. And I almost feel like as well, in terms of reading there, you have a lot of amazing insight. Throwing that in there throughout, I feel like would probably even get people to just watch you just because they want to hear what you have to say. They want to hear what you have to say about the cards you just saw, even if it does not necessarily a message, but it might connect something to you and then you express it. And I was like really iffy on doing that because I didn't want to put my thing into the reading. But then I'm like, but then I'm not being my authentic self because I do want to find that, I guess you could say, hey, look, the message isn't great, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, do this and do that, make yourself feel better and stuff. I feel like that's like really needed. And there it really, from your whole story, it looks like you were very much chosen, very much just like knew what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And a lot of the things you mentioned are simple, not super super complicated. And once again, that's another thing that human brain has difficulty with. And like when things are too simple, it doesn't make sense as to it would work.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes that's the struggle, right? Like with YouTube, because I'm in a client one-on-one, I focus on them and I focus on their reading and their energy.
Hmm.
But sometimes, I don't know, I'm Aquarius. I think outside, I can't stop. I can't help myself.
Yep.
I have to share what I feel is maybe necessary, even if it impacts one person. Sometimes I'll admit I kind of probably go a little more on my rants or what I think, but I'm aware of that. And I try to consciously, pay attention to the tarot and the reading, but it's my channel. It's what it is. I read very freestyle. I read very intuitively. Some cards I don't follow what the meanings are because something else picks up. And I trust that because I'm busy with clients. Like I know that what I deliver, it's needed or, necessary. Even if I always tell people like, we're going to get what spirit wants you to hear, not what you want to hear. So please come with, come with questions because I've had readings where the person's like, tell me about my car. And I'm like, actually, we're going to talk about your mom.
Right.
And it's just like, we got to do this message because it's needed for healing. Then we'll talk about your car or whatever. It does take different U-turns sometimes. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's good too. Like,
I, I really just want people to heal. Tarot is one thing, but I really just want to give people the empowerment to know that number one, you're not alone in this, that you have so much power within you if you just recognize it and turn it on and look at it. And that's where your healing was really going to come. Like there's just so much there for people to open up to, but it's hard and I get it. It's challenging. I had my moments where I'm like, forget this, forget it. Forget this laser, forget this acupuncture. It's not working.
Right.
But it does.
yeah. And that's a part of the journey too, which is,
Yeah,
yeah, it's great.
it opens your mind. Healing and illness and even death, for instance, with my friend, like it opens your mind to look outside of what you think you're in control over, what like take a look at another modality, like take a look at ancient Chinese medicine, for like look at the other modalities who have so much wisdom in more than just a pill or a drink or a needle or whatever. There's so much more that we've been living for millennia without these things.
Absolutely.
They help and they can be useful, but there's just so much more. And I think a lot of it is our own self-induced, stresses and lifestyles. And we maybe not self-induced is the right, but it's just we do put a lot on ourselves in the modern world, in the Western. We put a lot on ourselves, and it's not healthy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
why I feel like your
definitely.
story is so important. So I'm so glad you are here. And I'm so glad we got your story here and out. And I feel like it's going to be one that's really needed for people to hear and going right in alignment with what you do, what I do, even in terms of like what Andrew's doing as well, because you're also getting aligned to a bunch of spiritual people that are like seeking things out as well. So I feel like that is really cool. And I'm just like I'm gonna have to process your story continuously after this, but absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you so much, Alex, for
you.
coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And if you would like
Um,
to find Alex, he is at Blue Mountains Tarot. Do you have any other social media, Alex, or are you just on YouTube?
Just YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
You will find the link for that down below. And maybe one day we can like collaborate on the live and we can like pull cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. That'd
While
be.
I was talking to you, I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if you would ever just do an Aquarius channel.
Yeah,
Um,
I've
the
had.
Leos pushed me to a channel.
Yeah, I might one day. It's pretty Aquarius heavy right now, but maybe. Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure having you, and we will hopefully get you back on in the future and connect to you there as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Absolutely. Have a good
yeah.
one.
Too.
Say say something.
Hello.
Okay, Alex, you say something?
Hello?
Okay.
We good?
Yep, we got them all.
Perfect.
Awesome.